What is going on, folks? Welcome into Hometown Ghost Stories Paranormal Update. Today, we're bringing you a bunch of breaking news about some pretty big and wild stories around the paranormal community. I'm Jesse Wilkins. I'm joined by Rob Coakley. Hello, Rob.
I don't think you know what breaking news means.
Oh, yeah, because this episode's on like a week and a half delay. This will be breaking news about 2 weeks ago.
Do the math yourself.
Yeah, we're also joined by Dave Wilkins. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
And let's rock and roll. So
I have nothing clever to add.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
And we're cooking.
We are doing so well. So the big news in the paranormal world over the past couple of weeks that people are probably still talking about today
Let's hope
is
so. We are.
the fact that Aaron Goodwin from Ghost Adventures' wife was going to hire an assassin to kill him, which is a wild story, but it is wilder. And we're going to jump into it. I'm going to read the article from people.com and we'll stop the road and talk about this because the guy she was texting, before this even happened, I listened to a 3-hour podcast on this guy, so I have some insights on him as well. Ghost Adventure star's wife and convicted murderer who massacred his family texted how much they are in love. Arrest report. Victoria Goodwin.
So you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm not super up to date on this story. Aaron's wife was talking to a mass murderer.
Yes. Who was in prison. You're going to hear all about it in the story. All right. Victoria Goodwin and convicted murderer Grant Amato discussed how much they are in love in text messages obtained by police.
It's pronounced Grand Tomato.
The Grand Tomato. So police claim Victoria Goodwin plotted to kill husband Aaron Goodwin, the host of the reality series Ghost Adventure. A lot wrong with that sentence right there, first of all. Zach Baggins is probably not happy that Aaron Goodwin is being said to be the host, and they called it Ghost Adventure instead of Ghost Adventures, but I digress. After falling in love with a convicted murderer, Goodwin is accused of hiring a hitman to kill her husband with the help of convicted murderer, lot to process here, Grant Amato.
Grand Tomato.
Grand Tomato. According to an arrest report from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department obtained by People. Goodwin began to text Amato.
To be clear, that's People magazine, not just obtained by People.
Just obtained by People.
Yeah, just by People.
Well, you could just say it was obtained by people. That's more fun.
Yes. Goodwin began to text Amato in March 2024 after seeing him in the docuseries Control-Alt-Desire, per the report.
How many times have you watched a docuseries and was like, dude, I got to text this person?
Yeah, just got to start hitting this person up.
Yeah, he's in jail. Should be easy to text.
Yeah, just text him.
Yeah, let me figure out how to get a hold.
How do you figure out the phone? Because a cell phone is still contraband in prison, right? Like you're still not supposed to have a cell phone.
Right.
How do you even begin the process of getting that phone number?
Yeah.
The number, I don't know. I thought you were going to ask how you get the phone.
There are ways. I feel like it would be harder to actually find out what the phone number is for one of these guys. I don't know. Maybe you visit.
Or maybe you write a letter and then say, bro, what's your
There's
number?
all those like that weird obsession with marrying people that are on Ghost Adventures. No, marrying people that are in prison. Yeah.
Marrying people that you're not married to.
But regular letters, they usually like read those as they come in and out. So
they review it, especially with a serial killer.
Yeah. Or she's like in a letter she said, here's my cell phone number.
Or she's like, I would like 781,246 or whatever, how many digits.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be in the millions, right? That's how many tomatoes. That's how many tomatoes she's ordering from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The police wouldn't figure that one out.
Mm-hmm.
Not smart enough. No detectives in this prison. The docuseries details how Amato stole $200,000 from his family and later murdered his mother, father, and brother.
Oh.
Wait until you guys hear what he stole the $200,000 for, because it is insane.
Let's just say he was making a visit to the vegetable stand.
The pair also exchanged messages discussing how much they are in love, according to the report. Goodwin also says in those texts that her husband, FH, which I don't understand this, would not accept divorce. Like
Fathead.
Fathead.
I'm not saying Aaron Goodwin has a fat head. I'm just trying to think of things that my wife would call me.
Yeah. I feel like that's only like an insult she would call you to like the children.
Yeah.
Or to convicted serial killers in prison.
She's not like out with her friends being like,
Oh,
you'll never
fathead.
believe what my fathead husband did this week.
I wouldn't rule it out.
And one of these exchanges included in the report, Goodwin asked if she is a, quote, bad person. When he asked her why she feels that way, Goodwin responds, because I chose to end his existence, not divorce. Yes.
Yeah, you're a bad person.
Yeah, you're not a good person. Your decision was murder.
Yeah, and guilty. And that's something you don't put in text.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
What did you mean by end his existence? Exactly.
Did she sign a prenup when they got married?
So he just filed for divorce, and he filed for like 100% of everything. So I'm assuming there was probably a prenup in place, and if not, I'm sure this would nullify.
No, yeah, but I'm saying like that could be the reason that she opted to kill him rather than divorce, because it's divorce.
Yeah, I think so.
Nothing, but if he dies, she might get the inheritance, right?
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
The texts were discovered after corrections officers confiscated Amato's phone and sent it to the Florida Department of Corrections, says the report. Authorities in Florida then notified Las Vegas Metropolitan Police about the alleged plot by Goodwin to kill her husband, prompting them to arrest her earlier this month on charges of soliciting to commit murder and conspiring to commit murder.
I understand that they're married, therefore they have the same last name. Very confusing when you're just saying Goodwin, because when you say Goodwin, I'm thinking of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, he's conspiring with the killer?
Yeah.
But it usually just takes me a
Yeah,
second.
by the time this comes out, she probably won't be a good one anymore.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, it seems like they are, when we say Goodwin, for the most part, we are exclusively talking about her, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next line is, after learning of the alleged plot, Goodwin's husband filed for divorce.
Oh, Goodwin's husband, Goodwin.
Yeah, the Goodwin.
It's a good win for him.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'd say it's a bad one. I'd say this was not his ideal plan
Probably,
for his marriage. Yeah.
Goodwin did not deny messaging Amato when questioned by police, according to the report, which notes she felt lonely and was experiencing problems in her marriage.
I'd say so.
You know what? I'm lonely in this marriage. If only there was one fewer person, I'd feel less lonely.
You know what makes me feel less lonely? Talking to a man that absolutely cannot get out of prison on the other side of the country.
Yeah, well, you know what it does is if you're going to start a new family, you start a family with a guy that murdered his whole family.
Yes.
Definitely.
That's where you start.
What about a guy who murdered his whole family and potentially your whole family?
They're both in the market for new families, though. I mean,
Fair.
of course. So
Common interests.
she denied wanting her husband dead, however, and said she could not recall sending messages about hiring a hitman. I just can't remember saying that.
Does it have the detail? She thought that the money that she was sending him, because she legitimately sent him money. I don't know if you're going to get to that part, but she's like, no, that wasn't for that. That was so he could buy more cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
It was like $12,000. What kind of cell phone is he buying?
Which is wild because that's most likely Aaron's money as well there that she's sending to
Dude,
him.
imagine getting killed with your own money. That's super insult to injury.
Maybe he was going to use the cell phones to kill him.
I mean, technically he was probably going to hire the hitman through the cell phone.
Oh, yeah, because he was like a middleman. Because obviously you're not going to hire a guy in prison to do the murder. I need you to break out of prison, murder my husband, break back into prison so no one suspects it.
And then break out on the weekend so that we can spend them together.
all for $12,000. So this guy breaks back into prison, gets back into his cell. He's like, "Whew, that was a close one. Oh man, why'd I come back? Can't believe I did this again. I came back
For 12 grand. Dude, you were out.
The Prison Break seasons are just getting more and more unbelievable.
This is more believable than the plot of a few of the Prison Break seasons.
I know. I sort of skimmed through some of those seasons and not even all of them.
Yeah, it turned into one of those like, you know, it's not just them trying to break out of prison anymore. Now it's them trying to take down the whole government shows. And you're like, what am I watching? Like, you don't even know who the bad guy is. You're like, everyone wearing a suit is probably a bad guy. Like, I don't know. It just got really stupid. Oh, my LED light died. So sorry if I'm not as vibrant.
The Las Vegas Police Department ultimately made the decision to arrest and charge Victoria Goodwin because the message she sent to Amato about her husband's murder included payment plans, location, anticipation.
Well, what kind of payment plans? Could it have been like to pay off a cell phone, a $12,000 cell phone? Because you do want to have a plan.
Yeah, like unlimited data.
Did it have rollover minutes? Remember those?
I do.
Yeah. Do you think they're still doing the 10 cents a text in prison?
Probably.
Yeah. I think they're on prepaid phones over there. So probably.
God, that was like such a big thing.
That's why it had to be $12,000. Remember how fast those bills were? It's only 10 cents, you know?
Oh, but parents did not like the 10-cent text messages. You were not allowed to.
Well, dude, that racks up so fast. Like
so
one
fast.
Conversation costs you $6.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So it included payment plans, location, anticipation, and nothing done to stop the plan once in motion. So who cares? It doesn't nullify it at that point. Like, it still happened.
You mean, are you talking about the fact that they charged her for not trying to stop the plan once it was in motion?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
the
I
deed
feel
is
like,
done.
Yeah, but I feel like if her defense is that she didn't mean it or she was just joking around and maybe this guy took it seriously, then if she had taken steps to try and stop the plan once it was in motion, they could take that into consideration. Not maybe get rid of the charges, but maybe like kind of like a plea deal, you get lesser charges.
If I were to make a list of things that you shouldn't joke around about with serial killers, I think murdering people would be at the top of that list.
Yeah.
I just thought that was his sense of humor. Look who he is and where he ended up. Thought he would find this funny.
He just strikes me as a guy who might take those things seriously.
It is unclear if authorities will charge Amato, who is already serving a lifetime sentence in prison. All right, buckle up. Here we go. Police arrested Amato in January 2019 and charged him with the murders of his parents, Margaret and Chad Amato, plus his older brother, Cody. Amato massacred his family after stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his family to fund an online.
Can we guess?
Whoa. I want to guess first.
Yeah.
He was in love with a Russian streamer.
Oh, wait. Do I know this story? You might be spot on, but I'm going to take a guess anyways. He was
Ukrainian.
in love. He was in love with Aaron Goodwin from Ghost Adventures.
Amato massacred his family after stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his family to fund an online relationship with a Bulgarian cam model.
Yeah. So we have heard this story before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that was who this was.
Yeah, that's who this was.
I think I listened to the same thing you did.
Yeah.
He was talking to her. He was borrowing credit cards. He got arrested for something else or something like that. And then got out of jail. And then his parents were like, you got to straighten your life out. And they like, under no circumstances can you have communication with this call girl. Am I right?
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah. So
I do have to know, before you go further into the story, I do need to know, was the Bulgarian call girl available for comment on this topic?
Not that they made known from this, but
what's your Bulgarian phone number? Just curious.
I think you just throw your phone against the wall and hope it calls Bulgaria. So before we go further on this, so I think
it's safe to say real quick that Rob will never be successfully placing a phone call to Bulgaria with that strategy.
So he was, dude, it was such a wild story. So him and his brother both were going to like medical school. Like this family was clearly well off, and
he did strike me as a doctor type.
Yeah. So
a nurse. until.
Right. His brother ended up being the one who actually was getting further along in his career and stuff. And this one was sort of floundering. He was a nurse. He was stealing medications from the hospitals or giving people the wrong dosages. He was a I know better guy. So that was his problem in medical school too, is he always knew better than the professors. He always knew better than the doctors. So he's just an IKB guy. Like I know better than everybody, no matter what the situation, even though you're here to learn, no matter what he was being taught, he knew better than the person or giving
one upper.
Dude, this is so bad. Like, all right, you're a famous TV star, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you marry a woman, and she is talking behind your back with the biggest fucking loser who fell in love with a cam girl who thought she loved him back. This is the guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so many layers of, dude, I'm sorry, Aaron, if you're watching this. I'm sure you're not, but this is the worst story I've ever heard. Like, this guy,
we cover mass deaths on this show all the time. We're talking about hundreds of dead bodies.
This was a fucking loser who fell in love with a call girl, like thought she loved him back, sent hundreds of thousands of his parents' money because he didn't have his own to this call girl who didn't even know he existed, most likely. And then your wife wanted to kill you for that fucking guy. Oh my God.
Yeah, but this is clearly her problem in the sense that she's attracted to people she sees on television, right? Because she went after Aaron, and then she's going after this guy because she saw him on a docuseries as well. Which
whoever she marries next, like, don't let her watch TV. It's not going to work out for you. No true crime for her.
Or have her watch like Mr. Rogers or something.
Yeah.
Only celebrities who have died.
Yeah, just.
I mean, she might do some serious time here. So.
Oh, I would assume she's going to do some serious time. I can't imagine she won't. But yeah, so the other thing I found crazy is the way that you have to pay these Bulgarian cam models is you don't just like send them stuff. You have to buy like coins.
Yeah, probably like crypto, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like that. And then you have to send it over to them. It's just really, really weird. So
look at Rob over here pretending not to know exactly how to pay the Bulgarian call girls.
Definitely.
Not trying to explain away with the gambling issue that he has. The girls need my money. Not doing this for me. You know what's even more wild about this is the timeline, because the timeline, so this happened back in October. This was when like the whole plotting was happening. And then like it didn't happen. And they didn't seize his phone, I think, until recently, which is why he just now got arrested for it. Or she did too. But what's crazy is like on her Instagram, like last week or like 2 weeks ago, she just posted up a picture of like, you know, them cuddling on the couch because he had no idea that this happened. And it's like, so it didn't happen. Okay, so we didn't get murdered. Okay. Well, I guess we're riding it out, you know? Just gonna go cuddle on the couch. Hopefully he never finds out about that whole thing that I did. And then it all comes to light. It's like, dude, poor Aaron, man. That's rough. That is rough. Yeah. It's not like she got busted right when it happened. Like this was
right
many months later.
Yeah. She's the meme of the guy standing at the party. They don't know. They don't know that I'm talking to a serial killer in a Florida prison.
Except she's not standing far away from them. She's cuddling with them on the couch.
Yeah. There's no idea. So after failing to complete rehab for internet and sex addiction and declining to cease communication with the model, Amato was kicked out of the home per court records. Police said that after arguing with his parents, Amato proceeded to murder both his mother and father execution style. This is where it gets even a little more fucked up, which that's already crazy. He then used his father's phone to lure his brother Cody to the home and murder him as well, according to authorities.
I feel like you didn't have to do that.
Right.
I mean, you have to do any of it, but you definitely didn't.
You're talking about his brother, like he didn't have to get in the way of true love, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
He then positioned the gun in Cody's hands to try to make it look like a murder-suicide court record show, which is also insane as a medical professional because it was like hours after he killed his parents that he killed his brother.
Mm.
And just someone that has basic level 1 knowledge of crime scenes and stuff, I know that they can date the the time of death when they're that far apart. Like it was hours and hours apart. So
we have to go back to this because like I understand that like this whole falling in love with murderers that you see on TV is a thing, but how, like, not with somebody that's this much of a loser. What is the attraction to someone that is this much of a loser?
Dude, tons of women were trying to marry Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, and he was a big loser too.
He was worse.
Yeah. Well, he killed more people for sure. But like,
he did.
I don't know, just like the patheticness of like thinking that the online model really loves you.
But wait, when you say worse, he was worse, like more pathetic, or worse, like a worse serial killer?
It's really hard to put a pathetic.
He's more pathetic.
On these guys, but
Richard Ramirez was.
Pathetic. No. This guy's more pathetic. Because
that's the guy. Like Jesse. I think what Jesse's saying is like you understand the. I mean, I don't know if "understands" the right word, but like
I understand that the attraction exists for people like
for like a serial killer. Like Richard Ramirez is one of the most brutal serial killers. Well, this guy was a fucking.
He's just doing it, right? Like, it's just like just an absolute pathetic person.
Yeah, a worm.
Yeah. And it's like maybe it's just the style. I mean, like neither is right, obviously. But it's like just the whole like falling in love with the person online that you've never even seen face to face, and $200,000 you're trying to give this girl or whatever, and then murdering your parents because give me more money for my online girlfriend. Like it's just like it is the lowest form of pathetic. And it's like this is who she fell for. She's married to, I don't know Aaron's net worth, but I would assume a millionaire TV star
for sure.
And you're like, well, I don't know. This guy though, right?
Yeah.
He's never going to see the light of day. He doesn't have a dime to his name, and he's a huge piece of shit.
Some of the psychology I've seen behind the people that fall for serial killers and stuff is it's some sort of they know that person could protect them. It's like a protection thing, which also doesn't make sense to me because they're in prison most of the time. But it's just that they have this weird thing where they know that like this person, if it came to it, would kill for them, sort of, and that's sort of part of the allure for the people that fall in love with
what? Like what? During a jail visitation? Like where is this killing going to take place?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that at all.
And I guess she tested that right away because obviously he couldn't do the murder, but she tried to get him to be the middleman to hire someone.
Right?
Couldn't you just hire someone? Right? Like you're trusting this guy to like who does he know?
It's not really a service that's widely available.
Yeah, you don't DoorDash this, Dave.
All the more reason not to middleman it.
It's
especially a guy who has no connections. Obviously,
it's not
everyone who knew.
It's not KFC, Walmart, grocery stores, Hitman.
We don't want to give anyone any great ideas here, but what approach would you do besides talking to someone that's a murderer or someone like that? Like I don't know. Like you don't just fly people. Hey, would you like to try murder?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I would say his connections are probably better.
I'm not saying her process was good, right? But I don't really know. It's not something that you look up on. I don't know. You can't look it up online.
Well, you can, and that's how people get caught.
Yeah. This is also a weird case because usually these people get caught because they try to look it up online and they end up getting an FBI agent undercover who's like, I can do this.
So what they're doing is they're going to the dark web and they're searching for hired hitmen on the dark web because those services are on the dark web. The problem is I'm pretty sure 100% of them are just scammers that are trying to get your crypto money.
Scammers or FBI.
No, it's pretty much you're just going to get a scammer. And so, yes, so the FBI are on there. So you're going to not only lose your money to a scammer, an FBI agent is also going to intercept that conversation and you're going to go to jail on top of getting scammed out of your money.
I have been absolutely lost the last 48 hours in the scammers getting scammed videos.
Oh my God, they're so good.
These are so so good.
They're so
Oh
funny.
my
Let's not get too sidetracked.
It's a little bit on topic, and I just want to work it in there. But yeah, Scammer Payback, his YouTube channel is
hilarious.
unbelievable. They are so good at what they do. Anyways, carry on.
All right. Despite maintaining his innocence, police arrested and charged Amato with 3 counts of premeditated first-degree murder. Amato faced the death penalty, but jurors could not reach a unanimous verdict on imposing capital punishment. He is currently serving a life term without the possibility of parole.
If not who, and this doesn't have to turn into a pro-anti-death penalty argument. If not this guy, then
What is pro-anti-death penalty? What does that even mean? I understand. I understand. It took me a second.
How else would I word that? Anyways, I guess I could have used the word verse. But how does a jury look at this guy and be like, well, he only murdered his whole family.
Yeah, I don't think it's up to the jury. I mean, I think in some cases the jury decides, but in other cases the judge decides.
This one was the jury. It just said
that article just said the jury. That's why I bring it up.
Well, I mean, like the jury decides guilty or not guilty, but
just read the sentence again, because it sounded like the jury decided.
In Florida,
I know usually
does.
Yeah, I think the jury. In Florida, I think the jury decides.
Yeah, in your defense, Dave, I think typically the judge hands down the sentence. The jury just gives the guilty or innocent.
Verdict,
in most states, but
yeah.
Okay.
So
that's news to me about Florida, though.
The sentence was Amato faced the death penalty, but jurors could not reach a unanimous verdict on imposing capital punishment.
Okay. So they probably all vote on guilty, not guilty, and then vote on whether or not he should die.
No, but exactly. So to Jesse's point, like, why are you? I mean, I guess it comes down to are you for or not for the death penalty? And then there are people that say that the death penalty you're getting off to are easy, and that life in prison without parole is actually worse than the death penalty.
Yeah,
that's
the tricky part of it.
It is.
Because I think it is. I don't know.
I think it is.
I lean towards not death penalty in most cases, just because I don't love the idea of the government killing its own people, especially like where the justice system is so flawed. And you're always seeing cases of like, oh, sorry that we sent you to prison for 20 years even though you didn't do anything.
Yeah, here's a Chipotle gift card.
Yeah, I know. It's so yeah.
Right. I think in certain cases where it's brutally obvious, where they're pleading guilty because they absolutely did it, I think it should be up to the family, not the jury. I think the family of the victim should be like, they should be like, because you get some of them that's like, what's another life? Like people have different opinions on it.
So for the same reason that you would oppose the death penalty, right? Like in case they get it wrong.
No, that's your opposition. I'm saying in case they're absolutely wrong.
Well, what I mean,
if you were going to give it to it in this case, it's not for murdering the mother and father, because we're not clear what the circumstances were there. We have sort of a timeline of what we think happened with them. You would apply the death penalty because the brother is clearly premeditated.
Right.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. He lured him to the house.
Let's move on from this conversation, because I said let's not turn this into a pro versus anti death penalty, and then we absolutely went into all of the arguments on it. So yeah, moving on. More of the story.
We have a thought-provoking conversation.
It's not allowed.
So I was just wanted to point that out. Like that would be the one that they would probably apply it for. So
all right, last idea. Coliseum style battles to the death for these guys. We could bring it back. I've mentioned it I think 4 times on the show. I'm pro Coliseum. Coliseum kind of guy.
Just real quick, back to the idea of like letting the family like have their justice. Well, no, I love the idea, but like again, like what if you're the guy who was wrongly convicted and you're like, all right, the family decided they're going to beat you to death with wooden paddles.
Well, hang on, I didn't say they get to pick the style of death.
Well, why not go all in, right?
But as a pro Coliseum guy, I am in favor of that as well.
Yeah.
I think I would
before the verdict even comes out.
All right, so let's do this then.
Without any evidence. You're not lying.
I just want to see people fight. Am I such a monster?
Also, we're in a paradox for this one because we can't ask the family of them because they're all dead.
Just ask a different family.
All right, so rapid fire. Yeah, just ask any family. Rapid fire. If you had to pick a method of execution for somebody, what would it be? Tell me, Dave.
Oh, I get to pick how the person who wronged me is executed.
Yeah.
All right, I'm on the spot. I feel like I need some time to think about this, but if I was going to do it, I'd probably just say put him in a room with me.
Of course.
MMA Dave has come out real strong.
Are we getting MMA Dave or Whiskey Dave or a combination?
Yeah, I had no time to think about it, and I think that would be the most gratifying for me, is to be able to just pulverize somebody with my bare hands.
Wait, is this just a case that you're involved in, or are you just Executioner Dave?
I was
working for the state.
I said if I get to deal out the punishment to the person who wronged me.
That wronged you. Okay.
Are you wearing the executioner's mask on this, or?
No, I feel like it would be a disadvantage for me.
Okay. Are you at least going to have them like handcuffs, so you, just in case you lose?
Depends.
Depends on the killer.
Yeah.
Or depends on the amount of beers I've had that day. I don't know. Yeah.
Be absolute injury if I end up going there and get my ass kicked.
Jesse, what about you?
Now this is me. Wait, hang on.
How if you came up with this question,
kind of,
sort of. If you were given the option of how to execute the person that did something worthy of execution that against your family,
against my family, then yeah, put me on the firing squad. I would like to take place in the shooting. But if it's just like in general, then let's let them fight each other to the death in the Coliseum.
Who's them?
All the murderers at the same time. Yeah.
So what I would do?
No, hang on. Here's the problem with that. What if you're the murderer who wronged you becomes a champion and just like a hero? And everyone's championing guy who murdered Jesse's family.
He wins his freedom.
His family, and it ends up being like a Spartacus situation. And they make movies about him and write books about him. That could backfire.
Yeah,
it could. Except I'm the one writing the books and the movies. I'm like, this is great. This is exactly the plan.
So the way I would do it is I would have them in solitary, and I would have an inch of their body cut off every day, starting at like their toes.
Jesus Christ! Just lock Rob up. This is too much.
So they would cut off that 1 inch, and then they would like cauterize the wound, right? And then the next day they do another inch. We'll go up the legs. We'll take the arms off an inch at a time.
We understand what that means.
I would have it so their YouTube monetization gets cut off completely, and they don't make any money ever in the future because they said some crazy shit like Bob just said.
It's weird that Dave beating someone to death in a prison cell was actually the most humane thing that we came up with out of the three of us. I didn't see that coming.
No, I think Jesse's elevating his killer to a hero.
This is not how I planned this out.
Season 3 of your killer's arc is going to be wild, Jesse.
All right, they don't get to vote. They don't gain their freedom at the end. They just fall into a pit of water, and then we all throw toasters in. Like everyone gets their own toaster under their seat, like a
make some toast.
Yeah, it's like a twisted episode of Oprah where everyone looks under their seat, sees what the prize is. Oh, it's a plugged-in toaster. Okay, now you throw it in.
By the time you throw them, they're all unplugged and nothing happens because there's no plugs down.
Well, I mean, it's very far down, and he dies from getting hit by toasters. He doesn't have to get electrocuted by them. It's just got to do the job.
Well, anyways, sorry to hear it, Aaron Goodwin.
Yeah,
I actually do feel bad for Aaron on this one. It is.
That sucks. It's tough.
I hate to tell you guys, if he's going to listen to this episode, he's not going to make it this far. He's going to get that whole conversation. Like, all right, what are these guys talking about? Like everybody else. Anyways, thanks to our listener for sticking around.
Yes.
First of all, he would agree with me, I think.
I don't think so. I think more people will agree with me.
Yeah. You went rogue.
I will say that mine sounds the funnest, though.
Mine's just the most creative.
Yeah,
I don't know, the trap door, big bath, toasters under the seats, Oprah cheering. Come on.
It's just
Oprah would definitely cheer at something like that from all I've read about her. Anyways.
Also, that's trademarked because I've been planning on that for a horror movie scene for like 6 months. So
yeah. Think about it, listener.
Yeah, listener.
Well, I do hope that if Aaron remarries that he does find happiness because this lady is a crazy person. So
Yes.
that is a tough story. I like Aaron. He's always been my favorite character on Ghost Adventures. Sorry, Zach. Unless Zach wants to be on the show, then I'll go back and edit this too. Why not? But that is pretty much it for this week's paranormal update. Just one little story for you today because it was such a heavy hitter, and at one point it was breaking news. Now we're bringing you some old news here on Paranormal Update. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on Tuesday for another live episode of Hometown Ghost Stories. See you.